This video is for Jeff and his class. You guys had mentioned you guys were trying to get better prints and you had asked some specific questions. I thought it'd be easier just to show you on a video. So here it is. Basically, my Solidoodle 2 has been modified so much. I've changed it up so much that my x-axis and my y-axis can print to 8 and 8, and my z-axis can go down to 8.75. So I've changed it up so much that I can print bigger than a Solidoodle 3. So just a thought, you guys, there's a lot of room for improvement in the Solidoodle. I am having a little bit of issue, but with something, but I think it's a firmware issue. I might have to put these guys in my z-axis like that, so it slides up and down better. We'll see. Anyway, if you notice, I've got this off the carriage. This is another mod I've worked on. This actually works really good. The Bowden air tipper extruder. It takes a lot of the weight off your x-axis, and I've switched it to a CNC rail. So if you ask about that, this is a CNC rail. There's a little mounted bed in there, so keeps it real compact and real tight. You had mentioned what head I'm using. The hot end I use is this is called a J head. Now, if you go to switching hot ends, you're gonna have to figure out how to mount it because right now the Solidoodle doesn't really. I really don't like the way they mounted it. The engineers, I don't think, were thinking very clearly. They created a 20-part assembly out of acrylic that is used for the mounting to the carriage. Doesn't make sense to me. More parts, more can break. That's my philosophy as far as engineering goes. My background is aerospace, automotive engineer, and mechanical. So, you asked about what kind of board I'm using. Now it looks like a hornet's nest here, but that's because I've just got done trying to hook it up and I'm still going through the firmware. But I've been using Ramp's 1.4 board for, I don't know, about 3 months now. This is new to me. I actually just purchased this kit. As you can see, you got your drivers with your heat sinks mounted on top because they do get hot. This has a capability of having 2 extruders. So here's your extruder driver for your stepper motor, and this is the spot for the other place. You can see it. I mean, it's right here. I've got the lights plugged into it. So right there. These run the X, Y, and Z. Over here for the Prusa Air, they have 2 for the X, or I'm sorry, 2 for the Z. So that's kind of a plus if you want to do something. I'm making another printer. It's got 2 Z-axis screws. This is where your heated bed temp sensor goes, and this is where your extruder temp sensor goes. And if you had a second extruder, it would go next to the heated bed one. You have plug-ins here. This is for the heated bed. This is where your other extruder would go, right here in the middle. So there's 1, 2, 3 setups here. Let me see if I can get it tight. Okay, so you got one for each set of screws. There's 2. There's 1. So heated bed, second extruder, first extruder, or fan or accessory if you needed it. This takes a 12 voltage is for the Arduino basically. So this is running 2 lines of 12 volt, which I took out of what did I do? I converted it to ATEX power supply. It wasn't very difficult. If you want to know how to do that, I can show you. Just color coded. No yellow is 12 volt. There's a new board out for ramps now. This is on here. This is not the Arduino. This is a Tarino. It's specifically designed for rep application. Okay, so that's just one area of it. Now, some tips for you guys is when you're printing, this is what I would do in the firmware if I were you. And this is pretty much generally, it doesn't matter if it's mine or if it's yours, this is generally what's up. So let's see, let's go here. We're going to open up the PDE file. Let me find it, PDE file. So we're in Arduino, we open up PDE file. Let's expand, we can close this now. We expand this out. And what you'll want to go under is Configuration H, right here. Click on that, and then you're going to want to scroll down to where it says, let me just see, default, end stops, Default accelerated jerk. Let's see. Okay, where it says this, it says it's going to be online. So just to let you know, if you don't know already, Arduino, when you click on the line, down here in the corner, it tells you what number it is. On my firmware, which I'm running a different board, mine says 40, but on, I'm sorry, 240. On my line, 240, it says define disable access when it's not being used. So you can say, you know, I want to be able to move my Z-axis if it's not being used by the G code, right? So you can set that to true or false or whatever it is for your firmware, and that will allow you to basically, while it's printing, what I like to do when I start my print, I start it and then I move my Z-axis up and down physically with my hand. I reach underneath here like this, and I reach underneath here and I turn this to set the height, okay? So that's just one tip for you guys. That'll help get your print started off better. Now I print with PLA, and I use a glass sheet with, and what I'll do is I'll take an aerosol can of Elmer's and I'll just mist it onto the glass to get it to stick. And I'll use those little office clips to hold it on the sides. So like 1 or 2 on each side, works great. Also, I've got this, what do they call these? These smart controller LCD screens for rip wrap application. This allows you to actually change the speed of the printer while it's printing in real time. I can change the flow of the filament. If I've said, oh, I made a mistake in slicer or something, and the G code's just going to keep putting too much in there, I can turn it down. The way it works is you just click through the screens. Let's see. I'm supposed to take it to see right, well, my printer's not running, otherwise I'd show it to you guys, but in real time you can, and this allows it, and only in ramps can you do this, I'm pretty sure, but this allows you to run the printer without a computer, okay? So there's a little SD card slot here on the side. You just pop in the SD with the G code and you hit print, basically. So it's pretty nice to have one of these. I can prepare, which means it'll heat up. I can control it. I can even change the firmware from here to say, hey, I want it to do different number of steps per 100 millimeters or whatever if I need to calibrate. But that's a whole nother lesson. So keep that in mind. That might be something you guys really want to get into. But like I said, it only works with ramps. And here's this junk. Basically, here's another ramps 1.4. And I sell this equipment, guys, and I offer tech support, and I take care of everybody. But here's a ramps 1.4 with a normal Arduino hooked up into it. Now there's a different setup that they're selling now, and this is the Arduino Power. This is the new stuff. Basically, it doesn't require, you won't have to worry about blowing the board if you send too much voltage to it. And you need to make sure, if you ever do purchase one of these, first off, purchase it from me. Second off, look, my camera's not really focusing, but if you look right here, it says Mega, what the model is, and Power right here. That's what you're going to want to look at, Power. You're going to want the Power, because if you're converting, it can take anywhere from 12 volts to 35 volts, so you really have a hard time blowing it. If you do end up getting a ramps board, one thing to note is sometimes they sell the board without the driver. So make sure you go out and you get yourself a board that sells them with the driver. That's always good. These actually are, they need to be there. You'll need these. I don't know, I can't remember what these are called, but basically what these guys do is let me see, this is the right way, is they hook into here. So your drivers, one goes here, one goes here, one goes here, and you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 2 extruders. Well, these little pinned out areas right here, let's see if we get out of the light. These little pinned out areas there, you put one on each. So you need 3 for each driver. That amount allows you to do a micro step, 1/16 of a step, so you get very accurate. Like this is what I'm talking about here. You put those little black things in right there. So 3 for each driver. And then here's your smart LCD controller. Basically, when I buy them and I ship them out to my customers, They have the adapter for the ramps, which this would just mount onto here. The cords, and they have, you know, the SD card, the knob, and they basically go out like this. I'm testing this new setup now. It's pretty awesome. I like it. Also, if you guys are talking about doing any kind of upgrades, you can always just do just an SD card. I'm not sure how it works without the screen, so that's just a thought. And this is just a micro SD. Kind of see it hooks in through the backside. And I think the Sanguino board that goes with. So let me just get this clear. Sanguino and ramps. The only difference really is they've taken the Arduino board and basically married it with ramps. So it's like these two boards had a child, and that's the Sanguino board. That's what the Solidoodle comes stock with. Also, I also sell these extruder heads, or these what do they call these? Extruder hobnobs. This is a smaller diameter, so it's actually works really well. You know, just a thought. But for better prints, oh, like I said, this is a J-head. Let me get back to that. J-head gets hot quick. Love it. One other tip for you guys: when you're going into your slicer, and like, let's say, for instance, here, let me just close this out. I'm running out of time here. So you open up your slicer, and you're doing all your settings and everything. If you've ever wondered why you wait forever to get the print, it's because of this setting here. Because you're waiting for the bed to get to temperature. Well, the bed's going to take forever to get to temperature. It's always going to take forever. There's no way to get around it. So what you do is you set the bed temperature to 0 for the first layer. And then you set the second one to whatever temperature you want. And during the print, eventually it'll get to that temperature. But if you want to print really quick, you want it to start quick, set the first layer to 0 and it'll start as soon as the hot end gets hot. So that's my advice to you guys. If you guys got any more questions, you can always email me at bb3dprinting@gmail.com. You know, hit me up, ask me any questions. And obviously, I've modded my Solidoodle up so that it gets much better prints, much larger. So you guys might have more questions after this, and you know, think about ramps. It can be done. It's a lot of work. Peace.